Arizona is back and better than ever. Just like its predecessor, this game delivers a familiar theme but with a twist. This time, you're not surviving the apocalypse alone. Your new Canine companion will put dogs and other games to shame as it fetches guns and carries gear for you amongst the other things we'll discuss in this video. This is Amalgam VR, and I can tell you Arizona is definitely better the second time around. Let's dive into this review of the long-awaited sequel, Arizona Sunshine 2. Co-op aside, and with good reason, companionship is something that was noticeably lacking in the first game. This time around, teamwork in Arizona Sunshine 2 is noticeably enhanced through player interactions with Buddy, your canine companion, best friend, and all-around good boy. His presence and the dynamic banter between him and the main character add a layer of depth to the gameplay, making this apocalyptic world feel more alive and engaging. Another improvement on Immersion is in the guns. Unlike the first Arizona Sunshine, this time around, when you miss your shots, it actually feels like it's your fault and not the result of inconsistent gameplay. You still might find it frustrating when weapons behave unpredictably though, which is something we'll get into later in this video, but in general, gameplay feels much more immersive this time around. This game delivers the expected amount of immersion through character interaction and environmental details. I especially love the way this game throws hints at you as to what you're supposed to be doing at any given time. You get this yellow text that feels very unique to this experience, and I mean that in a good way. If you've ever played the first game, the overall immersive experience is essentially more of the same. There will be a link in the description to my review of the original, so feel free to check it out after you like, subscribe, and watch this video to the end. I'd hate for you to miss the scoreboard. Speaking of things being more of the same, the theme in Arizona Sunshine 2 remains true to its roots, giving you a setting and story that feels new but not too different from its predecessor. This time around, our new protagonist will also grapple with depression brought on by an extreme case of loneliness. It's a shockingly realistic headspace that reflects the ongoing struggle within this very harsh world. A standout addition to your adventure is your Buddy. That's actually his name, and he's more than just a sidekick. Buddy brings a completely new dynamic and, amongst other things, acts as something of an emotional support friend for a psychologically wounded protagonist. What you can expect from the theme is a story that conveys emotional and psychological problems that come with being a long-time survival in an apocalyptic world. You will still get comforting moments of hope through companionship, and this game, just like the last one, does an excellent job of not just telling a story, but putting you in it. No pun intended. Now let's talk about the mechanics. This time around, there is a significant and noticeable improvement from overall accuracy to the ability to put both hands on your handgun. The weapon selection underwent a serious tune-up and now includes items of the quiet persuasion. Hatchets, machetes, and other tools are now at your disposal. Firearm inaccuracies were a problem that plagued the first game, but it's refreshing to see that this has almost entirely been fixed in Arizona Sunshine 2. Speaking of refreshing, as mentioned earlier, you get a fluffy companion named Buddy very early on in the game. He really is a step up when it comes to dog AI in gaming. Buddy is capable of holding spare guns, explosives, and other miscellaneous items for you in his vest slots, which is awesome because you feel like you never have enough hands for all the stuff you find. Now, his attacks might occasionally miss their mark, but given what he can do, it's an acceptable trade-off. The fact that he can warn you about threats you might not have noticed, and the fact that you can command him to attack specific zombies really makes Buddy feel less like a random dog and more like the good boy he is. As for the explosives he can carry, there is a new DIY crafting system, and it's different. New to the series is the ability to craft your own party favors, by which I mean frag grenades and landmines amongst other things, not actual party favors. You'll find alcohol, glue, and nails throughout your playthrough, and it's nice that you can carry as much of these as you want because they really come in handy. This crafting system opens up new ways of persuading your unalived acquaintances to get out of the way. Oh, and co-op mode is back. It never actually left the series to begin with, but it's nice to have something here that can multiply the fun. The mechanics in this game build nicely on its predecessor, fixing past issues and introducing new features that keep your trigger finger as engaged as your brain. Moving on to visual quality, Arizona Sunshine 2's visual fidelity has gotten a facelift, which is to be expected given the release gap, but we're seeing sharper textures, more detailed environments, and cleaner animations that make the post-apocalyptic world feel just a bit more inviting, or terrifying depending on how you look at it. Unfortunately, not everything got the 2024 revamp I expected. Take the guns for example. While some of them look even better than the first game, which was already impressive for the time I might add, other firearms look like they've taken quite the step back. It's a bit like getting all dressed up in a suit and wearing your old worn out sneakers. You can get by, but it might ruin the outfit and is a noticeable missed opportunity to make a good impression. One thing I don't want to forget to mention is the fog. Not the cool, mysterious kind of fog that adds a layer of suspense, we're talking about the kind of fog that makes you question if your headset lenses are dirty. Some levels have this thick fog that's supposed to add ambience but doesn't quite feel like it belongs. You'll encounter this more than once and it's a bit annoying, but the good news is you'll have Buddy to accompany you along the way. And as far as looks go, this is one good looking boy. When it comes to audio, on the voice acting front, our main character delivers a solid performance.
Look at me, buddy. I'm Winston Churchill over here.
We will sit on their beaches, or
Whatever that was.
It's convincing enough to keep you engaged, though it doesn't quite hit the memorable highs of the first game's work. Think of it as more of an acceptable performance, but not a standout one. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, because the game has a great and improved overall auditory experience. The soundscape of this undead adventure hits all the right marks, pulling you into this comedically depressing and gore-filled story.
Oh, phew. Feel like we've been breathing pure methane the last half hour.
The gun sounds pack the right punch with every trigger pull, and the explosions do sound better this time around. The zombies are really convincing too. They sound as brutal and unnerving as they look, which by the way is a huge improvement over the last game. One aspect you might find disappointing is that occasionally the spatial audio seems to take a day off. You might hear a zombie moaning as if it's right next to you, only to turn around and find it actually coming from another room or behind a closed door. This can be a bit disorienting, especially in those heart-pounding moments when pinpointing the direction of those chilling sounds can make or break your survival odds. It's like playing Marco Polo with the undead, except if you hear Polo, you're either completely safe or completely screwed. Lastly, we'll talk about motion aids and options available in Arizona Sunshine 2. This game really steps it up in terms of giving you control over interactions like choosing between manual or automatic reloads, or fine-tuning joystick turning to degree angles. This is fantastic to see, especially for those of us who want our virtual experiences to feel as comfortable as they are thrilling. The amount of options available for personalizing your gameplay is impressive. It's a trend in modern VR games that I think is continuously taking steps in the right direction. It's clear that the developers have paid close attention to the trend in VR games of enhancing player comfort and allowing for customization. This focus on accessibility isn't just a nice touch, it's a game changer, ensuring that everyone can tailor their gameplay for maximum enjoyment, and making VR more accessible to bigger audiences. One of the coolest features is hands down the interactive calibration system. This isn't just your standard menu with slider adjustments for holster and ammo bag locations. This game lets you tweak and fiddle with your gear placement through an intuitive, interactive system in real time. You can adjust where your guns sit on your hips and where your ammo pouch hangs, making sure everything feels just right. This calibration method is so good in fact that it encouraged me to start compiling a list of the best VR experiences and features I've experienced. Let me know in the comments if you want me to drop a video on that, but yeah, awesome calibration. With each category discussed in detail, it's time to pick this one apart and see how the scores stack up in 2024 for Arizona Sunshine 2. Immersion gets a 3 out of 6. While our good boy companion does give us a pretty immersive companion experience and the voice acting is good, complications and nuances like buddies standing next to zombies without actually attacking them or guns teleporting on drop noticeably hurt this category. Theme gets a 5 out of 6 because the game continues to excel in storytelling and theme execution. The comedic but grim and grippy atmosphere was carried over well from the original Arizona Sunshine. Mechanics gets a 3 out of 6 because while the game has improved, providing more accurate and satisfying combat, the mechanics are not without their noticeable issues. Problems with Buddy ignoring the occasional command and the difficulty you may have reaching ammo without stepping outside your VR play area are noticeable. Visual quality gets a 4 out of 6. Visually, the game makes noticeable improvements over its predecessor, with enhanced textures and more detailed environments. The mixed bag with gun aesthetics and the unnatural fog in some levels are noticeable drawbacks that detract a little bit, but overall, not bad. Audio quality earns a 4 out of 6. The audio quality overall is pretty good, with convincing sound effects for weaponry and zombies that add to the game's atmosphere. Issues with directional sound can sometimes disrupt the auditory experience, but it doesn't take too much away from the overall audio quality. Lastly, motion aids gets a 5 out of 6. This game shines in its motion aids features, providing robust customization options that cater to a wide variety of player accessibility needs. The interactive calibration system and the ability to use both hands fluidly in gameplay are especially standout features that will enhance your virtual reality experience in this game. All in all, the inclusion of a versatile canine companion really enhanced the expected experience during my playtime. While the game introduces more accurate gunplay and innovative motion aids that cater to a variety of player preferences, it struggles with consistency in mechanics and immersion in ways that can sometimes feel a little too on the nose. All this to say, Arizona Sunshine 2 is still a great game and walks away with an overall score of 4.5 out of 6. As usual, thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a like if you're a fan of virtual reality. VR game reviews are coming your way weekly, so subscribe to avoid missing out, which would make us both sad. And until next time, stay immersed.